unit investigated over public strip search, WSB-TV. And the police chief admits this went on. But then buried in there, the headline shouldn't be public broad daylight strip search at a drug checkpoint, a Nazi checkpoint, a Soviet-style checkpoint, an authoritarian checkpoint. But they actually did a cavity search on the man. They actually put their hand inside of him. I mean, you cannot make this type of stuff up. And TSA has said in the future they may need to do cavity searches. So, first it's put their hands on your genitals through your pants, and it's in your pants. It starts with take your shoes off, take your belt off, and it just gets worse and worse. So we're going to be getting in to that. But buried in the article, there's the cavity search in broad daylight. And, of course, the feds are already paying nationwide grants to have police set up warrantless checkpoints and take blood without warrants. They want in our personal space. They're training police under the Model States Health Emergency Powers Act for now 9 years to forcibly inject us with vaccines. D.C. announced they'll give you a discount on your driver's license if you give them a blood test. Clinton signed that executive order. It's part of executive fiat law. They never implemented it, but he signed it in '94. It's in my first film made in '97. I show the executive order. I take it to the state police and read it to them, and they promptly arrest me. And I said, look, here's the executive order that they're going to put clinics in here and take blood. And they, of course, were laughing about it. But this is what they've been planning. This is the holy grail. And so now the police are going to pull you over and take your pants off on the side of the road in broad daylight in Atlanta. And, I mean, I'm sorry. I would resist that. I would resist somebody knocked me on the head when I was jogging and I woke up and they were trying to rape me. I'd resist. And if cops are pulling you over and trying to shove their hand in you, I mean, well, what are you supposed to do to these crazy people who think they're God? Now, we told you that this was going to happen, and the reports are now pouring in. And, of course, this is the top story up on the Drudge Report today. In the last 2 weeks, we actually wrote multiple articles at Infowars.com. Paul Watson and Jason Douglas did with the headlines, Homeland Security Hysteria, showing how every day we'd see as many as 6, 7, 8 cases where they'd shut down whole highways because of a cardboard box, where they'd shut down whole factories because somebody saw somebody on a cell phone. And they're putting out these TSA videos on TV and the web showing people in a mall going, look, he's on a phone. He looks suspicious. Look, he paid for cash. He paid with cash. Call the police. Where they're just taking normal activity and saying it's a sign of terrorism to create this perception that it's so deadly real and that it's so dangerous when you got a better chance of running into a deer and flipping your car and dying. Hundreds and hundreds die a year from that than you do with terrorism. You got a better chance of dying from peanut allergy, a better chance of dying from a bolt of lightning. I mean, you can pull these statistics up. We've written articles with the government's own statistics showing the hundreds and hundreds of things that you have a better chance of dying from. Of course, the number one thing is obviously automobile accidents, 300+ thou a year. I mean, the world's a dangerous place. It's like this woman 2 days ago that got a $48,000 settlement with Travis County, where I reside here in Austin, Texas. It's the county that Austin's in, because she was riding in a rural area with a group of long-distance bikers on the shoulder in a rural, one-lane road and hit a pothole on the shoulder and is suing, and the county just gave her money. I mean, it's this idea that the government must keep us safe. Isaac Asimov, back in the 40s, wrote the seminal book, I, Robot, where the government develops robots whose main job is to keep us safe, but in the name of keeping us safe, they build a total tyranny where you're not even allowed to leave your house, and you're basically just plugged into the wall because that's the only way the robots can make sure you're safe. And getting into a sociological situation, if you go back 3,000 years ago to the different dynasties in China, this first started about 3,000 years ago. Of course, they've had dynasties for 5,000. That the priest class would learn how to manipulate the royal family and say, women must have tiny feet. Let us bind your feet, so they couldn't walk. Women aren't allowed to cut their fingernails. Kings aren't allowed to leave the sacred city, to where they were just paralyzed and conned by the servant class of the elite, and then the servant class became the elite. And That's what's happening here with this nanny state, and the globalists know exactly what they're doing. I've got to pay as a taxpayer into that $48,000 for this woman who was riding her bike, hit a pothole on the shoulder. I mean, it's a country road. There's not unlimited money here. No one's perfect. I mean, you've got to know if you go on long-distance bike trips and you get tired. I remember one time back when I was in better shape, like 16 years ago, on a long-distance bike trek, for me, long distance, like 20 miles, and I wasn't paying attention, had my head down going up a hill, and ran into a pothole, and it flipped, and I got hurt. She broke her jaw. I just skinned my elbows. Did I go sue everybody because I was going up a hill, not paying attention, you know, just looking down at the ground and hit it and flipped? I mean, do you owe me money because of that? The government can't and won't protect you. All they can do is take your rights. I got even bigger news, though, on the hysteria coming up.
You really can lose weight while you're sleeping. Guaranteed. AffinityDiet.com introduces Lose and Snooze and the One-Day Diet. Great tasting Lose and Snooze from AffinityDiet.com is the first step in our guaranteed weight loss system. Lose and Snooze will help your body get a deep restorative sleep without the harmful side effects of pharmaceutical drugs. And during deep natural sleep, your body starts to shed unwanted pounds, build lean muscle, and lose inches. Add AffinityDiet.com's One-Day Diet waivers and your metabolism keeps going with all the vitamins and minerals you need with no rebound effect. But don't worry, you're never more than 24 hours from your favorite foods. Learn more about Lose and Snooze and the One-Day Diet at AffinityDiet.com, spelled AFFINITY diet.com, or call toll-free 855-663-3438. That's 855-663-3438. Finally, a diet that succeeds where others have failed, from AffinityDiet.com.
I'm Roger Rao at Midas Resources. If you are going through a financial roller coaster because of your investment in stocks, bonds, and other paper assets, perhaps you're ready for a change. You have an opportunity to change your financial security. Get the stability and peace of mind you deserve by investing in precious metals. Gold and silver have been a form of wealth protection for over 5,000 years all over the world. If you have seen your hard-earned money lose value because of inflation, sliding dollar, etc., it's time you stop the bleeding. The answer to your problems is simple. Gold and silver will protect your assets and your purchasing power, physical possession of precious metals, IRA rollover, etc. Call me, Roger Rao, at 1-800-686-2237, extension 178. Take action today when we are still accepting paper dollars for gold and silver. Ready for a change? Call Roger Rao at 1-800-686-2237, extension 178. Again, it's 1-800-686-2237, extension 178.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today, it seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Gun sales are on a staggering pace. Gun prices are going through the roof, and that means desperate, vicious criminals now want your guns and will do anything to get them. Now, a new book reveals powerful secrets for hiding your guns from thieves and looters. You'll learn step-by-step, battle-hardened techniques, where to hide your guns so criminals will never find them, how to create the perfect hiding place, as well as the places you should never hide your guns, under any circumstance. These and other closely guarded gun caching secrets are guaranteed to keep your weapons safe and out of sight when the going gets tough. But listen up. For security reasons, the Hide Your Guns book and even the website may disappear without warning at any time. Go to hideyourguns.com. That's hideyourguns.com. Or call 877-327-0365 before they come for your guns. Hideyourguns.com right now. Right now.
Again, Bob Chapman, Lindsey Williams, Larry Pratt, Wayne Madsen coming up. We're going to get into what's happening in the Middle East, in and around the Suez Canal, what the near certain fall of Egypt, now that the police are beginning to join in with the Egyptian population. When that happens, boom, it's over for the dictator, Hosni Mubarak, who for 3 decades, if you criticize him in any way, you're taken to a torture dungeon. I mean, they are monsters. And even the Australian news and others are calling out the U.S. saying, why are you trying to prop up a dictator again? And a lot of people are saying they believe the West is orchestrating this. I don't see evidence of that. Tunisia, Yemen, Egypt, those are big allies with the U.S. and Israel and England. And they've got dictatorships that are U.S. funded. How many tens of billions do we give to Egypt every year? As much as we give Israel, I know that. By the way, Rand Paul's calling for cutting off aid to all of them. I agree. Yeah, here's the headline. Rand Paul, end aid to Israel and everybody else. Absolutely. End that aid now. We're bankrupt. We can't pay for it. And it makes the world hate us because we're funding all this tyranny. Now here's the hysteria stories that we've been talking about. Now imagine, now at 9,000 locations, malls, 846 Walmarts, it's going in this month and next month at 9,000 locations. Many of them already have it. This Walmart has it. Telescreens at the checkout counter saying, watch everybody, look for terrorists. Don't trust your neighbors. And so they go out in the parking lot, and a guy's arguing with somebody on a cell phone. I just saw an article last week where a guy was watering his lawn, and the people thought the end of the hose was a gun. They killed him. And the police said, well, good job. You know, we better safe than sorry. I saw an article where they busted in the wrong house and the guy had a remote control in his hand, boom, dead. And they said, well, we felt threatened to stop the drugs the government ships in to begin with to create the crisis and to offer the solution of tyranny. They keep the drugs illegal to keep the price up so their bosses can make more money. But now at Walmart, and I've got other reports of this today as well, report of armed man leads to lockdown at Walmart. 44% of U.S. retail sales, 42 worldwide, is Walmart. These are nice little camps. Walmart admits they've been part of drills for a decade for forced inoculation centers. We were covering that in FEMA documents yesterday, how they're going to use sports stadiums, high schools, Walmarts to lock you down. And they tell the police these are civil insurrection camps. And Walmart is allied with the Defense Department. That's come out. So is Google. That's now coming out in mainstream news. Again, we told you about that 6 years ago on Google. Had Mr. Steele, a retired CIA expert in computer information analysis, came on and broke that. And, boy, he got a lot of heat after that happened and said, basically, I've gotten some heat. I'm not coming back on your show when he let the cat out of the bag on that. But a report of an armed man acting erratically in a Walmart parking lot led to the store being temporarily locked down before the Kirksville police, that's in Missouri, responded and diffused the situation with no injuries. Oh, they diffused it. Kind of like the city of Austin just bought a couple $1 million worth of robots. So now they're out there shutting down the highways every week, you know, defusing cardboard boxes. But they'll go ahead and blow the cardboard box up to say, well, we're not sure if it was a bomb. Or in San Diego, we got to burn this guy's house down because we think there's bombs in there. No jury, no proof, no nothing. We're just going to burn his house down because the bombs are too dangerous. It's just this made-up baloney to create hysteria. According to the Kirksville Police Chief Jim Hughes, a passerby stopped at Kirksville police officer and said they had seen an individual acting erratically in a truck near the Walmart parking lot shortly before 2:30 p.m. The passerby believed the individual had a gun to his head. We don't take these things lightly, Hughes said, especially nowadays. Yeah, especially nowadays, they're creating all this mind control hysteria. The KPD responded to control the scene in order to lock down the store, both to keep shoppers in and prevent the individual from entering the store. Then they went up and talked to him and found out he was having a long discussion on his cell phone. I can't tell you how many times I've had some emergency at the office come up, an alarm go off or a water,